New details in the double murder case that's rocked Hollywood. This afternoon, the LA County Medical Examiner said Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle died from multiple sharp force injuries.
Before his unexpected death, Rob Reiner made one final phone call. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't public. Very little is known about the call itself. Yet its timing and what followed afterward has led many to question what was said during that private conversation and who he spoke to. Why has this call drawn so much attention? And why do people believe it matters? Join us in this video as we unravel the mystery behind Rob Reiner's final phone call. Rob Reiner's last words. Eric Idle has revealed that he spoke with Rob Reiner just hours before tragedy struck. The Monty Python legend shared that he had a long, warm phone call with his close friend on Saturday night, a call that would unknowingly become their last. According to Idle, the conversation lasted over an hour and felt full of warmth, laughter, and plans for the future. Idle said they even talked about meeting up in the new year. Nothing felt wrong. Nothing felt final. Rob sounded like himself, thoughtful, engaged, and full of ideas. That's what makes what came next so hard to accept. The very next day, Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle, were found dead in their Los Angeles mansion. Reports say both had suffered knife wounds, and police are now questioning a relative as part of the investigation. The shock of the discovery sent waves through Hollywood and beyond. Speaking through his grief, Idle described Reiner as a lovely and sweet man. He shared the haunting final words Rob said to him, "See you next year," words that now carry a chilling weight. Idle also reflected on their long friendship, recalling the first meeting with Rob back in 1975 at the home of Rob's father, comedy icon Carl Reiner. In his final messages, Idle said Rob had been talking about filming near Stonehenge and sharing his thoughts about the future, proof that his mind was still full of plans and curiosity. "This is so awful," Idle wrote. "I shall miss him." How was Rob Reiner discovered? Let's find out. Hollywood icon found in a scene no one expected. Rob Reiner was more than a director. He was a defining voice of Hollywood's golden modern era. At 78, his legacy included some of the most beloved films of the 1980s and 1990s. Stand By Me, When Harry Met Sally, and A Few Good Men weren't just hits. They became cultural landmarks, shaping generations of moviegoers. But on Sunday afternoon, the story took a dark and shocking turn. The Los Angeles Fire Department was called to Rob and Michelle Reiner's home around 3:30 p.m. What they found inside the sprawling six-bedroom mansion was devastating. A man, 78, and a woman, 68, both dead. Sources later confirmed the victims were Rob and his wife, Michelle, and that both had suffered stab wounds. Detectives quickly began treating the case as a homicide. According to officials, a family member is currently being questioned, though no arrests have been made. The investigation remains wide open. The grim discovery was reportedly made by the couple's daughter, Romy, who lives just across the street. She went to check on her parents and instead walked into a nightmare that no family should ever face. Rob and Michelle had 3 children together: Romy, Nick, and Jake Reiner, a news reporter based in Houston. Nick has previously spoken publicly about his struggles with substance addiction and periods of homelessness. Rob was also the adoptive father of Tracy Reiner, whom he raised with his first wife, filmmaker Penny Marshall. As news spread, a heavy police presence surrounded the home Sunday evening. A neighbor told ABC7 that Larry David and Billy Crystal, who starred in When Harry Met Sally, arrived separately at the scene. Crystal reportedly looked like he was on the verge of tears before leaving. During a press conference, LAPD Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton said no suspect had been identified and no one was in custody. He explained that police were waiting on a warrant before re-entering the home, adding that the scene had remained untouched since officers first arrived and determined there was no immediate threat. The LAPD declined to officially identify the bodies, stating that confirmation would come from the LA County coroner. LAFD paramedics had been dispatched to the Chadbourne Avenue mansion at 3:38 p.m., and within minutes, LAPD officers were called in for what was labeled an ambulance death investigation. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass later released a statement saying she was heartbroken by the Reiners' deaths, calling it a devastating loss for our city and our country. She added that Rob Reiner's influence reached far beyond film, touching American culture and public life in lasting ways. As the investigation continues, one question hangs heavily in the air. How did a man who brought so much joy to the world meet such a tragic end inside his own home? This question still remains unanswered. But what other shocking news has got people puzzled as the case unravels? Keep watching to find out. A shocking turn. Police detain Rob Reiner's son. The tragedy surrounding Rob Reiner's death took an even more disturbing turn on Monday.
Son Nick was officially charged with his parents' murders.
Yeah, Nick Reiner was calm and quiet in the courtroom today. He let his attorney do most of the talking.
According to a law enforcement official speaking to the Associated Press, Reiner's younger son, Nick Reiner, was in police custody in connection with what investigators believe was the fatal slaying of both Rob and his wife, Michelle. Online jail records show that Nick Reiner, who is 32, was booked by Los Angeles police and remained behind bars as of Monday. At the time, it was still unclear what specific charges he would face, but records listed his bail at a staggering $4 million, a number that underscored the seriousness of the case. The law enforcement official, who had been briefed on the investigation, confirmed Nick was being held but said they could not publicly discuss further details. The official spoke on the condition of anonymity due to the sensitivity of the ongoing investigation. Representatives for the Reiner family did not immediately respond to requests for comment. It also remains unclear whether Nick Reiner has an attorney who could speak on his behalf. For many, the news was especially heartbreaking, given Nick Reiner's long and very public struggles with addiction. He has previously spoken about cycling in and out of treatment facilities from a young age, facing periods of homelessness and repeated relapses. Rob Reiner did not shy away from that painful reality. In 2016, father and son explored their fractured relationship and Nick's battle with substances in the semi-autobiographical film Being Charlie. At the time, the project was seen as an honest attempt to confront addiction and family trauma. Now, in light of recent events, that film has taken on a deeply unsettling new meaning. As investigators continue piecing together what happened inside the Reiner home, the case has shifted from shocking to almost unimaginable. A Hollywood legend's life ending in a tragedy tied so closely to his own family. Following the death of Rob Reiner, his relationship with his son Nick, who is now under suspicion, has come to light. Did their film together fix Nick? Stay tuned to find out. Being Charlie and the Reiners' journey. The shocking deaths of Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner on Sunday sent ripples through Hollywood. The arrest of their son Nick on Monday in connection with the assassination has cast a painful spotlight on the private struggles of this prominent family. Their story, however, has been partially documented through art, notably in the 2016 semi-autobiographical film Being Charlie, which explored Nick's experiences with substance addiction and his complex relationship with his father. Business Insider spoke with Rob and Nick Reiner in 2016 at the Toronto International Film Festival, where Being Charlie premiered. The film centers on 18-year-old Charlie, played by Nick Robinson, navigating substance addiction. Charlie's journey in and out of rehab is complicated by his father, portrayed as an actor-turned-politician, Cary Elwes, who wrestles with how to support his son while managing his own frustrations. The film's script was initially developed by Nick alongside fellow addict Matt Elisafon during a 4-year stint in a Los Angeles rehab facility. After attempts to sell it as a television series failed, they turned to Rob to direct it as a feature film, combining the father-son duo's creative and personal insights. Reflecting on the project, Nick told Business Insider that collaborating with his father on a film about their struggles was both challenging and healing. It was a real corrective emotional experience, he said, speaking about the TIFF premiere. Rob echoed the sentiment, calling Nick the heart and soul of the film, highlighting the deep emotional connection that informed the project. The film had a limited release, playing in only 4 theaters for 1 week in May 2016. Yet its significance went far beyond box office numbers. "We were healing as we were going along," Nick explained. "And it all doesn't happen overnight. Certain things we hadn't dealt with for a while, but we were able to through this movie. It didn't fix everything, but it really tapped into." Nick paused, searching for words, and Rob, sitting across from him, finished the thought. "It forced me to really have to understand what he had been going through for a long time." Today, in light of the tragic events, the film stands as both a testament to their bond and a haunting reminder of the challenges they faced behind closed doors. Before his tragic demise, who was Rob Reiner, and how did he come to be known as a legendary icon? Keep watching to find out. From the Bronx to Hollywood immortality. Rob Reiner's life story reads like a roadmap of American entertainment history. Born Robert Norman Reiner on March 6, 1947, in the Bronx, New York City, he grew up in a Jewish household already steeped in comedy and performance. His parents were Estelle and Carl Reiner, with Carl later becoming one of the most respected comedy legends of all time. During his childhood, Rob lived in New Rochelle, New York, before eventually moving west. He graduated from Beverly Hills High School in 1964 and went on to study at UCLA's film school, where his passion for storytelling began to take real shape. Even before fame, he paid his dues, working as a trainee and apprentice at the Bucks County Playhouse in Pennsylvania during the early 1960s. His first on-screen credit came in 1962, when he appeared under the name Robert Reiner in a non-speaking role as a horse wrangler on Wagon Train. From there, he picked up small acting roles throughout the late 1960s, appearing in shows like Batman, That Girl, The Andy Griffith Show, Gomer Pyle, USMC, Room 222, and The Beverly Hillbillies. He also appeared in films during this time, including projects directed by his father, such as Where's Papa? In 1970. Behind the scenes, Reiner was sharpening his writing skills. In 1968 and 1969, he worked as a television writer for the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, teaming up with a young Steve Martin. It was a creative partnership that helped shape his sharp comedic voice. Everything changed in the early 1970s when Reiner landed the role of Michael Stivic, better known as Meathead, on Norman Lear's groundbreaking sitcom, All in the Family. Playing Archie Bunker's liberal son-in-law, Reiner became a household name almost overnight. The show dominated television, becoming the most watched program in the United States for 5 straight seasons from 1971 to 1976. The nickname Meathead followed him everywhere. Reiner once joked that even if he won the Nobel Prize, headlines would still read, "Meathead wins the Nobel Prize." Despite that, the role earned him 2 Emmy Awards.
And the winner is
Rob Reiner, All in the Family.
This is fabulous. A lot of you know me and know that I'm not very big with awards and award shows, but
multiple nominations, and a lasting cultural impact. Years later, after stepping away from TV acting for a long stretch, he returned with a recurring role on New Girl between 2012 and 2018. In the early 1970s, Reiner continued creating. He appeared on The Partridge Family and co-created the sitcom The Super for ABC in 1972, a short-lived but memorable series about a stressed New York apartment superintendent. By the 1980s, Rob Reiner reinvented himself again, this time behind the camera, and changed Hollywood forever. He directed genre-defining films like This Is Spinal Tap in 1984, Stand By Me in 1986, and The Princess Bride in 1987. His work spanned comedy, drama, romance, and suspense, often collaborating with editor Robert Layton and fellow creatives like Christopher Guest. Through his company, Castle Rock Entertainment, Reiner delivered a run of iconic films: When Harry Met Sally, Misery, which earned Kathy Bates an Oscar, and A Few Good Men, his most commercially successful film, nominated for Best Picture. Even later in life, he never slowed down. He directed The American President, Ghosts of Mississippi, and The Bucket List. He continued acting in films like Sleepless in Seattle, The First Wives Club, The Wolf of Wall Street, and appeared memorably in his own work as Marty DeBurgi in This Is Spinal Tap. In December 2023, Reiner opened a CBS primetime special honoring Dick Van Dyke, reflecting the deep respect he earned across generations. His final film, Spinal Tap 2: The End Continues, was released in 2025, just months before his death. From a Bronx-born kid to a Hollywood giant, Rob Reiner didn't just make movies. He left a permanent mark on American culture, one that will long outlive the tragic way his story ended. So, beyond filmmaking and acting, what else was Rob Reiner most passionate about? Let's find out. A life of conviction. Rob Reiner beyond the camera. Rob Reiner was never just a filmmaker. Outside Hollywood, he was deeply involved in politics, activism, and social causes, often speaking just as loudly off-screen as he did through his work. A committed liberal activist, Reiner co-founded the American Foundation for Equal Rights, the group that launched the legal challenge against California's Proposition 8, which had banned same-sex marriage. That court fight would eventually help change marriage laws nationwide, marking one of his most lasting contributions beyond entertainment. In 1998, Reiner took on another major role, chairing the campaign to pass California Proposition 10, the California Children and Families Initiative. The measure created First 5 California, a statewide early childhood development program funded by a tobacco tax. Reiner served as the organization's first chairman from 1999 to 2006 and became a fierce anti-smoking advocate. His aggressive stance even made him the target of satire, most famously in South Park's episode Butt Out, where he was portrayed as an exaggerated, hypocritical tyrant. Reiner later faced criticism for campaigning for Proposition 82, which aimed to fund state-run preschools while still serving as chair of the First 5 Commission. He resigned from the position on March 29, 2006. An audit later found the commission had not broken state law and had the authority to run public advertising campaigns, though it did note that more than $77 million in media contracts were awarded without cost reviews. Proposition 82 ultimately failed at the ballot box. Beyond education and health, Reiner was also active in environmental causes. He played a key role in preserving California's Amanson Ranch, successfully pushing for it to become a state park and wildlife refuge instead of a commercial development. He also served on the Social Responsibility Task Force, which focused on how entertainment intersects with issues like violence and tobacco use. In 2007, he introduced a reunited Spinal Tap at the London Live Earth concert, blending activism with pop culture. Politically, Reiner was heavily involved in Democratic campaigns. Though once mentioned as a possible challenger to California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger in 2006, he declined to run. He campaigned for Al Gore in 2000, supported Howard Dean in 2004, endorsed Hillary Clinton in 2008, and later donated to a political action committee backing her 2016 presidential run. After the 2016 election, Reiner became one of Donald Trump's most outspoken critics, repeatedly calling him racist, sexist, anti-gay, and anti-Semitic. He publicly stated that while Harvey Weinstein was a bad guy, Trump was also an abuser. In September 2025, just weeks before his death, Reiner gave a striking interview on CNN. Speaking out against Trump and the FCC, he made a chilling remark. "It may be the last time you ever see me." In hindsight, those words now feel eerily prophetic. Another unexpected final note in a life defined by strong beliefs, outspoken opinions, and an unshakable need to speak his mind. What was Rob Reiner's life like outside Hollywood? Stay tuned to find out. Family, love, and a life dedicated to children. Rob Reiner's personal life was as full and complex as his career. In 1971, he married actress and director Penny Marshall, adopting her daughter Tracy Reiner from her previous marriage to Michael Henry. That marriage lasted a decade, ending in divorce in 1981. But it marked the beginning of Reiner's journey as a father and blended family man. During the filming of When Harry Met Sally, Reiner met photographer Michelle Singer. Their connection was immediate and deeply influential. Not only did it shape personal decisions, such as altering the film's ending, but it also led to marriage in 1989. Together, Rob and Michelle built a family with 3 children, sons Jake and Nick, and daughter Romy. The couple's dedication to children extended beyond their own family. In 1997, they co-founded the I Am Your Child Foundation, and in 2004 established Parents Action for Children. These nonprofits focused on raising awareness about the critical importance of a child's early years. Through celebrity-hosted educational videos and advocacy work, they sought to influence public policy and improve early childhood development nationwide. Reiner's upbringing also shaped his worldview. Though he had a bar mitzvah, his childhood home was not observantly Jewish. His father, Carl, had become an atheist during the Holocaust, and Reiner himself later identified as an atheist during an appearance on Real Time with Bill Maher in 2012. Yet, he remained open to spiritual ideas, particularly those found in Buddhism. Family was also central to his creative work. In 2015, Rob directed Being Charlie, a semi-autobiographical film co-written by his son Nick, exploring the younger Reiner's struggles with substance addiction. Through both personal and professional avenues, Rob Reiner's life reflected a deep commitment to family, children, and the challenges of guiding the next generation. How did Hollywood react to the death of an icon? Let's find out. A nation mourns. Tributes pour in for Rob Reiner. The news of Rob Reiner's death sent shockwaves far beyond Hollywood.
Beloved TV and film icon Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle dead at 78 and 68. We do know the LAPD is investigating as a murder.
California Governor Gavin Newsom expressed that he was heartbroken, praising Reiner's boundless empathy and dedication to children and civil rights. Leaders of the entertainment industry also paid tribute. SAG-AFTRA President Sean Astin honored Reiner as one of the most significant figures in the history of film and television. Actor and director Ben Stiller called his passing a huge loss. Actor Jerry O'Connell, who starred in Stand By Me, said losing Reiner felt like a parent has passed. adding, "Everything I have in my life is because of Rob Reiner. Everything I have, my children, my wife, my just everything." Tributes also poured in from the nation's highest offices. Former President Bill Clinton said, "Hillary and I are heartbroken by the tragic deaths of our friends Rob and Michelle Reiner. They inspired and uplifted millions through their work in film and television. And they were good, generous people who made everyone who knew them better through their active citizenship in defense of inclusive democracy, setting an example for us all to follow. Hillary and I will always be grateful for their friendship, unfailing kindness, and support." Former President Barack Obama echoed these sentiments, stating he and Michelle were heartbroken and highlighting Reiner's deep belief in the goodness of people. Vice President Kamala Harris called the couple "dear friends," underscoring the personal as well as public impact of their lives. From Hollywood stars to national leaders, the overwhelming response reflected a single truth. Rob Reiner's influence extended well beyond movies. His compassion, activism, and dedication to making the world a better place left a mark that will be felt for generations. As the nation mourned, what controversial comments were made about Rob Reiner? Keep watching to find out. Trump sparks. Controversy with political comments on Reiner's death. President Donald Trump faced immediate backlash from fellow Republicans on Monday after he suggested, without evidence, that Rob Reiner's death was connected to the director-actor's anti-Trump views.
Today, President Trump reacted to Reiner's death with a disparaging post on social media that has generated bipartisan backlash, that he suggests the deaths were related to Reiner's political activism.
The comments injected politics into a tragic assassination at a time when other conservatives were expressing condolences for Reiner and his wife, Michelle. On Truth Social, Trump wrote that Reiner was unalived due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known and sometimes referred to as Trump derangement syndrome.
I think he hurt himself in career-wise, so he became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all, in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country.
Sometimes referred to as TDS, while prefacing his remarks by acknowledging the tragedy as a very sad thing. Trump's post was widely criticized as inappropriate and insensitive. There is no public evidence supporting Trump's claims regarding Reiner's political views as a motive. Trump had also crossed paths with Michelle Singer Reiner earlier in their careers. She had taken the iconic photograph of Trump that appeared on the cover of his 1987 book, The Art of the Deal. The White House did not immediately comment on what information, if any, the president had regarding a motive for the assassination. Several Republican lawmakers publicly rebuked Trump for emphasizing politics over the horrific nature of the deaths. Representative Mike Lawler, RNY, wrote on X that, regardless of one's political views, no one should be subjected to violence, let alone at the hands of their own son. It's a horrible tragedy that should engender sympathy and compassion from everyone in our country, period. Lawler's criticism reflects a rare pushback from GOP members, particularly in districts where MAGA support remains strong. Other Republicans also spoke out. Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia and Thomas Massie of Kentucky condemned Trump's post on X. Massie wrote, "Regardless of how you felt about Rob Reiner, this is inappropriate and disrespectful discourse about a man who was just brutally assassinated. I guess my elected GOP colleagues, the VP and White House staff, will just ignore it because they're afraid? I challenge anyone to defend it." Reiner himself had been a vocal critic of Trump and a significant donor to Democratic candidates and causes, contributing more than $150,000 to the Democratic presidential candidate's Victory Fund during the 2024 cycle. He had also publicly condemned political violence in the past. Following the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk in September, Reiner told interviewer Piers Morgan, "I don't care what your political beliefs are, that's not acceptable," praising nonviolence and compassion. Andrew Colvett, spokesman for Kirk's organization Turning Point USA, shared the Morgan-Reiner interview on X the night before Trump's post, praising Reiner's grace in responding to the tragedy. Calls for Trump to delete his comments came swiftly. Piers Morgan criticized the post, calling it a dreadful thing to say, referencing Nick Reiner's arrest in connection with his parents' deaths. Conservative voices online also condemned Trump's politicization of the tragedy. Filmmaker Robbie Starbuck posted, "What happened last night to Rob Reiner and his wife was a savage butchering of 2 human lives. I don't care what their politics were or how they felt about Trump. No law-abiding human deserves this. We should pray and send condolences to his loved ones and not make it political." Raheem Kassam, editor of the National Pulse, said he did not approve of Trump's comments, and former Trump campaign lawyer Jenna Ellis called the statement not the appropriate response to the assassinations, highlighting that the right had universally condemned political reactions to Charlie Kirk's death. Ellis emphasized that Trump's remarks were a horrible example that should be denounced by anyone with decency. Some Trump allies, however, defended the president's post as a warning rather than a celebration. Alex Brusewitz, a top Trump supporter and social media influencer, expressed sympathy for Reiner, but maintained that the president's reaction was understandable given Reiner's outspoken criticism of him. Conservative commentator Jack Posobiec framed the post similarly, claiming Trump's intention was a warning, not an endorsement of violence. Despite differing interpretations, many conservative figures stressed a unified message of respect for Reiner's life and contributions. Brett Weinstein wrote on X, "Notice that the American right is not celebrating Rob Reiner's assassination. I see post after post honoring his remarkable contribution to our culture despite his strident embrace of progressive lunacy in his later years. This is America displaying our common humanity. May his memory and his remarkable body of work be a blessing to us all." The incident highlighted the intense political polarization in the U.S., showing how even tragic deaths can become contested terrain. While reactions varied, a broad consensus emerged that Reiner's life and legacy deserved remembrance free from partisan rhetoric, emphasizing human compassion over political debate. So what legacy did Rob Reiner leave behind? Stay tuned to find out more. A cinematic legacy. Rob Reiner's impact on film and television. Rob Reiner was a transformative figure in both American cinema and television, shaping genres and influencing generations of filmmakers. One of his most iconic contributions was This Is Spinal Tap, which popularized the mockumentary format. Its innovative use of improvisation was groundbreaking for a Hollywood production, establishing conventions of realism, parody, and unscripted performance that filmmakers would adopt in both film and television. The movie's success helped cement the mockumentary as a mainstream format, and it is widely regarded as one of the greatest comedies of all time. Through the 1980s and 1990s, Reiner directed a series of films that became enduring cultural touchstones across multiple genres. Stand By Me captured the poignancy of coming of age. The Princess Bride wove fantasy and romance into a timeless tale full of quotable lines, and When Harry Met Sally redefined the romantic comedy, balancing male and female perspectives in ways that were groundbreaking for the genre. Critics frequently cite Reiner's first 7 films as evidence of one of the greatest directing streaks in Hollywood history. His later work, including The Bucket List, introduced cultural terminology into everyday conversation, further reflecting his lasting influence. 3 of his films, When Harry Met Sally, The Princess Bride, and This Is Spinal Tap have been selected for preservation by the National Film Registry for their cultural, historical, and aesthetic significance. Beyond directing, Reiner's influence extended into producing and studio leadership. Through Castle Rock Entertainment, he brought groundbreaking projects to wide audiences, including the iconic television show Seinfeld, which reshaped network comedy expectations. Castle Rock also produced films like The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile, both of which remain critically acclaimed and beloved by viewers decades after their release. Reiner's creative influence was matched by his outspoken political and social activism. As one of Hollywood's most prominent liberals, he was unafraid to voice his opinions, sometimes drawing satire, such as his caricature in South Park. Whether behind the camera, shaping studio projects, or advocating for social causes, Rob Reiner left an indelible mark on American culture, a legacy that continues to resonate in both entertainment and public life. So, what do you think about Rob Reiner's life and final call? Let us know in the comments section. Thank you for watching as we explored the life, legacy, and tragic final moments of Rob Reiner. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next story. And while you're here, click the video on your screen to uncover more gripping stories from Hollywood and beyond.